Welcome to the Greater Las Vegas Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Ann Eisele, a minister in training from Southern California. Tonight is week 3 in our 4-week journey exploring emotions. A lot of information will be coming from this month's book, We Were Made for These Times by Kira Jewel Lingo. During this month's lecture, we have been exploring how to thrive during life's transitions and challenges with clarity and compassion. In our first session, titled Coming Home, we explored 3 ways of approaching challenges, which are staying present, being open-hearted, and accepting of changing life circumstances. In our second week, titled Weathering the Storms, we explored how to deal with feelings overwhelmed and the 5 steps for caring for strong emotions. And just as a reminder, the 5 steps are recognize, accept, embrace, explore, and allow. This week, its title is Impermanence and Balance. We will explore 2 more tools that will help us live in balance and harmony. To paraphrase Alan Watts from his book, The Wisdom of Insecurity, when we are clear and sure about what we're doing, we are less open to other possibilities available. Or saying it another way, when we are determined to do something a certain way, we don't even consider another option. But when we let ourselves hang out in the space of not knowing, there is enormous potential, and life could unfold in numerous ways. So rather than avoid and fear this place of uncertainty, we can embrace it and all its gifts. Impermanence means things are always changing, and therefore nothing is permanent. We and everything are constantly changing. Recognizing how impermanence constantly operates in our lives helps us to be more receptive and accepting of life's ups and downs, especially in times of turmoil, such as changes in our relationship, work, living environment, or health. Many of us get lured into believing what we have now will always be here. This results in a lot of suffering, a lot of our suffering. When we forget that everything is impermanent, nothing changes. We are setting ourselves up for pain and suffering. Our fear of change and resistance to change are sleeping beneath the surface. The more we can bring them into our conscious awareness and make a point to look at them, the less we will be controlled by them. Impermanence is not an idea, but an enormously empowering recognition, opening us up to the truth of how life is, not allowing us to remain confused by our delusions of how we want it to be. Everything is in flux. What might seem like bad luck or disaster could actually be an amazing opportunity for growth and prosperity, as well as what might seem to be good luck and prosperity might lead to disaster. What both of these have in common is they are impermanent and will change. Allow me to share a famous parable. Once upon a time, there was a farmer in central region of China who had worked his crops for many years. One day, his horse ran away. Upon hearing the news, his neighbors came to visit. Such bad luck, they said sympathetically. You must be so sad. We'll see, the farmer replied. The next morning, the horses returned, bringing with it 2 other wild horses. How wonderful, the neighbors exclaimed. Not only did your horse return, but you received 2 more. Wait, what great fortunes you have. We'll see, answered the farmer. The following day, his son tried to ride one of the untamed horses, was thrown and broke his leg. The neighbors came again and offered their sympathy on his misfortune. Now your son cannot help you with the farming, they said. Ah, what terrible luck you have. We'll see, replied the old farmer. The following week, military officials came to the village to draft young men into the army. Seeing that the son's leg was broken, they rejected him. The neighbors congratulated the farmer on how well things turned out. Such great news! You must be so happy. The man smiled to himself, and once again, we'll see. This story teaches us that there is no point in becoming attached to the events and the circumstances of our lives, because this too will change. Many times what looks like setback may actually be a gift. When our hearts are open, all events and circumstances are gifts, providing us with valuable lessons. By facing the truth of impermanence, we are free to live without being ruled by our deepest fears. Our fear of change and resistance to change is usually subconscious. The more we can bring these fears into consciousness, awareness, and look at them clearly, the less we will be controlled by them. Buddha often offered a meditation on impermanence to help shake us out of our dream that things will stay the same as we wish them to. He called them the 5 remembrance. By remembering these 5 things every day, we bring to our consciousness how impermanent everything is and allows us to focus on the gift of the present moment. I have to tell you, when I read these 5 remembrance, I felt depressed. I didn't want to talk about these things because I was afraid that I would depress you too. Only by working with the concept of impermanence did I begin to realize how important the 5 remembrances are. They remind us that only when we stay present with the concept of impermanence, can we truly be happy. Impermanence teaches us that we can't get stuck in difficult times. We can't attach to the good times. The difficult and the good times are impermanent, always changing. Our struggles in life come from not realizing that. Because everything is impermanent, we must celebrate the good times and acknowledge and learn lessons from the challenging times in our lives. Keeping in mind what the 5 remembrances are trying to teach us. All right, let's see if we can embrace them. The first remembrance is we are of the nature to grow old. Today is the youngest I'll ever be. Embrace the present moment with the understanding and appreciation for what is right here and now. The second remembrance, we are the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. However, we can recognize that dis-ease, is an opportunity to change and for something new to be revealed. The third remembrance is we are of the nature to die. Our physical bodies die, but our spirit, our soul, lives eternally. The fourth remembrance is all that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature to change. There is no way to escape being separate from them. All relationships change and evolve and end. The fifth remembrance is our actions are our only true possessions. We cannot escape the consequences of our actions, and we don't get to take anything with us when we make our transition. We are not our possessions. We are defined by our actions. To ensure our actions are divinely guided, we can use affirmation prayer to help guide us. I hope by going through the 5 remembrances, you will be able to keep your focus on impermanence. The 5 remembrances are intended to make us feel more alive and in touch with life, to appreciate its preciousness even more. As I was reading this book and coming to grips with this concept of impermanence and the 5 remembrances, it reminded me of how I have intentionally maintained contact with those I love. For example, when I was in college, I lived near my aunt, and she became like a second mom. After I moved away, I made a point of going to see her regularly. During one of the visits, she shared with me how much she appreciated me coming to see her and asked me why I was making this a priority. I told her I wanted to be part of her life and her part of my life. I realized that prioritizing people in my life was important to me. Life moves in the blink of an eye. Create those priceless memories now. To live a fulfilling life, we need to prioritize that which is most important to us. And create that fulfilling life, we must face or acknowledge that which is important to us and that which is not working. We also have to recognize what we can control and what we can't. There's no point in trying to change something over which we have no control. For example, we cannot change another person. All we can do is to decide if we want to be with them or not. As James Baldwin says, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. In Science of Mind, we look at our thoughts to ensure we are creating the life we want, not the life we don't want. So what does that mean? If we spend all of our time thinking about what we don't want or what went wrong, we can't create the life we really want. Being aware is being mindful. Another tool used in Buddhism that helps us remember the concept of impermanence and shows us how to maintain balance is called the 8 worldly winds. A common symbol in Buddhism temples is a wheel with 8 spokes. The 8 spokes represent the 8 worldly winds, and there are 4 pairs of opposites: pleasure and pain, gain and loss, praise and blame, fame and disrepute. The 8 spokes represent the 4 things we hope for and the 4 things we fear. The 8 winds represented by the wheel is always turning and never stops. We can't get comfortable with the joys of pleasure, gain, praise, fame, nor should we identify with misfortunes that comes our way and think they define our whole life. If we over-identify with the 8 winds, we become dependent on other people's praise or opinions about us to be happy. Our happiness will be insecure and unreliable. But if we can see our lives from the standpoint of the center of the wheel, we are truly in balance. The center of the wheel is the empty, representing impermanence, and also called the point of pure truth. When we are in the center, we have compassion for ourselves and the situations we encounter. We have compassion for ourselves. We forgive our mistakes and are confident in our lives. Our happiness is solid and reliable, not relying on external sources for approval or disapproval. The 8 worldly winds bring us to the center, to the place of stillness and quiet that leads to awareness. The hole in the center of the wheel is the key, representing balance. The center reminds us to come home and to see ourselves as more than the 8 worldly winds. We are made up of all those who have influenced us and helped shape us in some way. Our parents, teachers, friends, the food we've eaten, the books we read, sunlight, water. We cannot exist by ourselves alone. We can only exist because each of these elements comes to help make up part of who we are. If we understand and live from this insight, we will be incredibly empowered and hold a kind of secret weapon when moving through times of adversity and change. Staying in the center of the wheel, we neither chase after pleasure or fame or fear pain or disrepute. Because we know we are larger than these forces, they can't define us. This non-fear is what gives people courage to make big sacrifices and take incredible risk. The center of the wheel, our essence, points us back to our true nature, not as a wave whipped about by the 8 worldly winds, but rather as water itself, vast and serene. In conclusion, by facing the truth of impermanence, we are free to live our lives without being ruled by our deepest fear. The more we can bring these fears into conscious awareness and look at them clearly, the less we'll be controlled by them. The 5 remembrances help us focus on how impermanent everything is and allows us to really focus on the gift of the present moment. The wheel of the 8 worldly winds is always turning and never stops. We can't get comfortable with the joy, nor should we identify with the misfortunes that comes our way and think they define our whole life. The hole in the center of the wheel is the key, representing balance. The center reminds us to come home and see ourselves as more than the 8 worldly winds. Let's pray, and then we'll move into our meditation. So if it feels comfortable to you, please close your eyes. And if not, take a nice soft gaze of something in front of you. And let's take a deep breath as we center ourselves into that one source, that divine spirit that's at the center of our wheel, the divine spirit of love, of abundance, the divine spirit that flows in and through everything and everyone. I am one with this divine spirit. I allow the 8 worldly winds to just blow through me and notice them. And then I invite you to just enjoy and watch the 8 worldly winds as they pass through your life. As we stay in this present moment and we stay grounded in the center of the wheel and let it spin and turn as it will, as we just stay centered in that balance, that peace, that harmony. And I'm so grateful for the understanding and the teaching of impermanence and the 8 worldly winds, and how by staying present in this moment, right in this here and now, I am able to just enjoy life and see it for what it truly is. A magnificent miracle, a blessing, the sunrises, the joy, the laughter. And for this, I'm truly grateful. And I gently and easily release this into the universal law, knowing that it is done. And so it is. Amen. So please move in with me to facing the 8 worldly winds. Find a comfortable position and feel your upper body really supported, your whole body supported in the chair. Now visualize your upper body from your waist up, reaching towards the sky like a tree. Now allow your lower part of your body to root down into the earth, feeling the aliveness in your body in this moment as you ground into the earth while growing upward into the sky. Allow your whole body to be simply at rest. Now allow yourself to be at the center of the wheel in that empty space where you can observe all the 8 worldly winds blowing in and out. Though the wheel turns and turns, the eye of the wheel is still. And that's where you are. You observe the circumstances of your life, the losses, the gains, the pleasure, the pain. But you are beginning to get free from the attachments and aversions to these things. Breathe deeply and let yourself rest still in that center. Jumping off that endless and exhausting hamster wheel for a time. Open up and rest here. Now, see yourself as a wave on the ocean. You rise up out of the water and begin to move quickly. There are also other waves around you. The other waves around you are moving more slowly. You feel special because you can go faster. But then a huge wave comes by, dwarfing you, passing you by, making you feel small and insignificant. But you and the slower waves, and you and the bigger, faster waves are actually the same nature. Let go of your wave form and go beneath the surface. Sink down, down, down into the calm water. Now you are ready, allow the ocean just to embrace you and touch the truth of your nature as water. Here, there is no fast or slow, big or small. There's just water. The same substance that makes up the waves that were slower than you and the waves that were bigger than you. As you do this, realize there is no more you, because now you've become part of the water. You are one with the water. Let yourself enjoy being immersed, vast, empty of separate self, content to contain everything around you. Come back to the present moment. If it feels comfortable, just pat your body to bring your awareness to the here and now. And when you're ready, open your eyes. And while you're coming back, allow me to share a line from the Plum Village song. I cannot add more days to my life, but only more life to each day. So thank you for our third journey. And also on the webpage, on the Greater Las Vegas Center for Spiritual Living webpage, will be a journaling exercise. And it is, which of the 5 remembrances resonates with you the most and why? And the 5 of them are listed as: we are the nature to grow old. 2, we are of the nature to have ill health. 3, we are of the nature to die. 4, all that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature to change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. And finally, our actions are our only true possessions. We cannot escape the consequences of our actions, and we don't get to take anything else with us when we make our transition. The second question is, did any of the 5 remembrances make you uncomfortable, and why? The third question, which of these pairs of 8 worldly winds is most relevant to what you are going through at this moment, or which has been a significant issue for you in your life? Pleasure, pain, gain and loss, praise and blame, fame and disrepute. In the midst, and the final journaling question, in the midst of these ups and downs, how might you dwell in the space at the center of your wheel? Happy journey. Thank you.
Here at Center for Spiritual Living Greater Las Vegas, we are a mission and vision-driven community. We offer transformative educational opportunities, deep and meaningful moments of connection, uplifting Wednesday and Sunday services. We greatly appreciate your contributions that support the amazing work we're doing here in Southern Nevada. We have several easy ways you can contribute. We have text to give. Simply text the amount of your donation to our text to give number, and you'll be prompted to enter your information. There's a link to our online donation page posted below this video where you can contribute by debit or credit card. And of course, you're always welcome to send a check to our office if that works better for you. All of your contributions go to support the great work that we're doing here in Greater Las Vegas community.
When I was a boy, each week, a Sunday we would go to church. I listened to my daddy preach. He would read the Holy Word, consecrate the holy bread. Everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. When I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time Moses split the sea in two. Jesus made the water wine. I remember feeling sad. Miracles don't happen still. But now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything's a miracle. Everything is holy now. 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 And wine from water is not so small. An even better magic trick is that anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. Holy water was rare at best. I could barely wet my fingertips. Now I have to hold my breath, like I'm drowning in a sea of it. There used to be a world out there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down. Now I'm walking with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. 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 And wine from water is not so small. An even better magic trick is anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. This morning outside I stood, I saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush, singing like a scripture verse. Made me want to bow my head. I remember when church let out. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. 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 Holy now. Everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. Holy now.
Monthly publication, Science of Mind magazine, is a treasure to be read and contemplated. Along with in-depth articles, there is a day-to-day spiritual support to be gleaned from its daily guides. Licensed practitioner Lynn Frankenberger hosts Adventures in Faith every Tuesday at 11 a.m. on Zoom, and you're invited to join in. This is a weekly group discussion that focuses on those daily guides and how to apply them. Check Facebook and our weekly newsletter for more details. CSL Greater Las Vegas brings you much of your favorite spiritual music every Friday at 7 p.m. with spiritual soundscapes. Enjoy performances from CSLGLV vocalists along with special guest singers. It's music for your soul. Subscribe to the CSLGLV YouTube channel to get a convenient link sent to you for each musical performance. At CSL Greater Las Vegas, it is our mission to inspire spiritual discovery through community connection, exploration, and celebration. This mission supports the all-inclusive vision of Centers for Spiritual Living worldwide, in which we envision a world that works for everyone and all of creation.